Hi everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining us today. We've got a brand new story to share with you. So let's begin. My name is Vincent. I've always believed that love is built on trust. Without trust, love is just a pretty lie. That's what happened to me. I was engaged to a woman named Casey. We had been together for years. We'd spent so much time building a life together. But all of that fell apart when I found out she was still going out on dates with another man. When I found out, it broke everything in me. That night changed everything. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you how it went down. I met Casey at a mutual friend's housewarming. Our conversation started simple. Then somehow we ended up talking for hours. From there, we kept in touch. At first it was casual, meeting up for coffee, grabbing lunch when our schedules allowed. But over time, we both started putting in more effort. Those casual meetups turned into dinners, weekend hangouts, late-night calls, and eventually, we were officially a couple. Our relationship grew steadily. We didn't rush things, but it also didn't stall. We dated for over 3 years, and through that time, we built something that felt solid. By the second year, it had become normal for Casey to spend most weekends at my place, usually from Friday evening through to Sunday night. It made sense, and I welcomed it. She never moved in permanently, and honestly, that was fine with both of us. My house gave us space to spend time together comfortably, and it didn't feel necessary to rush cohabitation. Her place was smaller, and while I did visit her there from time to time, living there full-time never really made sense. One thing I always appreciated about Casey was her openness. From the early days of our relationship, she never hesitated to talk about her past. Past relationships, mistakes, lessons, even family drama. She didn't hide anything. She was especially open about a childhood friend of hers, someone she described as like a brother. Said they've never been romantically involved. I didn't overthink it. I trusted her. Completely. She gave me no reason not to. And when someone lays everything on the table like that, you assume they're being honest. Eventually, we got engaged and she said yes. We started talking about our wedding. We discussed potential honeymoon destinations, guest lists. What kind of home would we want? Emotionally, I was all in. Financially too, I was saving, planning, and making sure I could give her the life I felt she deserved. It felt like we were aligned. But I would learn that appearances, no matter how convincing, don't always tell the full story. One Friday evening, Casey showed up at my place, just like she always did. She had her weekend bag. It was comforting to have her around. That night over dinner, she casually said between bites that she would have to head back to her parents tomorrow, adding that it's family stuff. I nodded and told her it was fine. She doesn't really need to talk much about her family business, and I always tried to respect that. I don't poke around in people's personal matters when they don't feel like sharing. And she'd never given me a single reason not to believe her. After dinner, like we usually did, we moved over to the couch and queued up a movie we had been meaning to watch all week. Halfway through, I felt her head slowly lean onto my shoulder. She had fallen asleep, something she often did when she was exhausted. I just let her rest there, gently wrapped my arm around her, and watched the movie to the end. But throughout the movie, her phone kept lighting up with no sounds. At first, I brushed it off as her group chats. When the movie finally ended and the credits began to roll, I leaned forward, planning to gently wake her so we could move to the bed. Before I tapped her shoulder, my eyes went to her phone. I picked it up. Just instinct, I guess. And the first thing I saw on the lock screen wasn't what I expected. The previews of the messages were not the kind of words a brother sends to you. Now, we had each other's passwords. That was something we both agreed to early on in the relationship. A gesture of trust. So, without really thinking, I entered her code and unlocked it. What I saw next is hard to put into words. The messages from her so-called childhood friend weren't jokes or simple check-ins. They were flirty, intimate, filled with emojis, inside references, and worse, plans. My eyes landed on one message from him that said, "Can't wait to see you tomorrow." And her reply? A heart emoji. Then, I told him I'd be at my family's. We're good to go. I was stunned. That message was sent just a few hours ago, probably while we were eating dinner. I didn't wake her to confront her right then. I just sat there, staring at her as she slept peacefully. My thoughts were spinning, and my entire body felt like it had just shut down from the inside. I couldn't stop asking myself one question. Was I not enough? Why would she lie to me like that just to sneak away for a weekend with another man? I sat there in silence, watching the woman I thought I knew, wondering when it all started falling apart, and how I never saw it coming. The next morning, she stirred beside me on the bed. For a second, everything looked normal. She leaned in and kissed me on the cheek. She stretched, got up, and started going about her routine. Brushed her teeth, came back into the room, pulled her overnight bag from the corner, and threw in a few of her things that were at my place before. While she moved around the apartment, she kept saying how much she'd miss me, that she wished the weekend was longer, that next time she'd try to leave work earlier, so we'd have more time. I listened, but didn't say much. Everything she said felt like lines from a script she'd practiced before. And maybe it was. She might have had to rehearse the words to sound believable before going off to meet someone else. I didn't say anything. I wanted to see how far she'd carry on the act. So I let her speak. After a while, she paused. She looked at me properly. I guess she noticed I wasn't being the version of myself she was used to. She tilted her head and asked, "Are you okay?" I shrugged and gave her the same line I'd always use when I didn't want to talk. Nothing. She chuckled, not knowing how far things had shifted. "Ah," she said playfully. "You're already missing me?" She walked over and nudged my arm, like that would break the tension. I forced a small smile. And in that moment, while she laughed and zipped up her bag, I realized just how heavy silence can be when you're holding it in your chest. She grabbed her bag and walked to the door. I followed, just like I always did whenever she was heading out. It was part of our unspoken routine. I'd walk her to the door, open it for her, and she'd usually turn back, flash a quick smile or kiss, and be on her way. It had always been simple. But this time, as I held the door open and she stepped just past the threshold, I didn't say goodbye like usual. I didn't say, "Drive safe," or "Text me when you get there." No. Instead, I looked her straight in the eye and I said, "Good luck on your date." I saw her whole expression change in real time. It was like her face couldn't figure out what emotion to land on. She was trying to piece together what she had just heard. She stammered, "Wait, what are you talking about?" Her voice cracked slightly. But I didn't give her that chance. I raised my hand gently, just firm enough to tell her to stop. "There's no need," I said. Then I closed the door. The second I shut the door and walked away, the silence didn't last long. Almost immediately, I heard her knock. It was desperate, loud, like she couldn't believe what just happened and needed to undo it somehow. Then the knocking turned into sobs. She was begging through the door, voice cracking, pleading with me to just listen. My phone buzzed once, then again. Then it wouldn't stop. I didn't even need to check to know it was her, but I did anyway. And sure enough, the messages were rolling in, one after the other. "Please open the door. Let me explain. It didn't mean anything. I'm not going anymore. I'll cut off anyone you want. Just open up." I just sat there, staring at my screen. The words kept coming, but none of them made sense to me. She was trying to say it didn't mean anything, but if it truly meant nothing, why did she lie about it? Why did she sneak around and hide it under the cover of family stuff? Why did she need to go see another man at all, let alone plan a weekend away with him? I was emotionally stuck. I kept asking myself, was the entire relationship built on a lie? Did she love me the way I loved her? Or was I just a placeholder while she figured things out with someone else? Had he always been lurking in the background? Was she ever really over him? Or was I just the guy she said yes to because I was present, reliable, and safe? I didn't say a word or open the door. I didn't text back either. Eventually, and I mean hours later, after crying, knocking, begging, and texting everything she thought might make me unlock that door, she left. But it didn't end there. Not even close. Weeks had passed, but Casey didn't give up. Every morning for the first few days, I'd wake up to messages stacked on my phone. She wasn't even hiding her desperation anymore. The texts weren't long or poetic. They were raw. They came at all hours. "Please talk to me. I didn't mean to hurt you. Let me explain. Sometimes they were just, I miss you. And once, late at night, she wrote, I know I don't deserve a second chance, but I'll keep asking until you tell me to stop. I didn't block her. Most of the time, I didn't even open the messages. I'd just see the preview on my lock screen and put the phone back down. The temptation to reply was there, of course it was. I had loved her, but every time I came close to responding, I remembered the choices she made. Then one weekend, I heard a knock on my door. I didn't move at first. I stayed sitting on the couch, waiting to see if she'd leave. But she didn't. She just stood there. I knew it was her. Eventually, she knocked again, a little louder this time. And then I heard her voice through the door. Vincent, please. I'm not here to argue. I need to talk. I didn't respond. I waited again, hoping maybe she'd give up and walk away. But she didn't. She stayed there for over 15 minutes. Then I heard her voice crack as she said, You were right. I messed up. But please, at least let me explain. I finally opened the door and asked her to explain. She told me she'd been emotionally confused. She said it wasn't love. She missed that part of her life and didn't know how to deal with it. She admitted she lied to me, that she didn't think I'd ever find out, and that's why she felt safe enough to go behind my back. She kept saying it wasn't serious, that it didn't mean anything. But the fact that she had to lie to make it happen already told me it meant something. I didn't interrupt her. I let her speak. I let her say everything she needed to say. When she finally ran out of words and looked at me like she was waiting for a verdict, I asked her the only question that mattered to me. Would you have told me if I hadn't found out? She froze. Her mouth opened a little, then closed. She looked down at the floor, lips trembling, but she didn't say a word, not even a whisper. And in that silence, I heard the truth louder than anything she had just told me. If I hadn't checked her phone, if I hadn't read those messages, she would have gone off that weekend, smiled in my face afterward, and kept planning our wedding like nothing ever happened. I moved back quietly. She looked up, eyes full of hope, like maybe I'd say it was okay, that I'd forgive her. But I didn't. I said, then this engagement was based on lies, and I won't build a marriage on that. She tried to say something, but I raised my hand again, calmly. I wasn't going to yell. I was past that. I just told her, please don't message me anymore. Don't come here. Don't show up again. Let this be the last time. Then I walked back inside and locked the door. She stood there for a moment, eyes filled with pain, and then she left. You know, people often say that love is about trust. I never thought I'd be in the kind of situation where I'd have to question everything. But when I found out what Casey had been doing behind my back, it wasn't just the trust that broke. It felt like the love cracked open too. It's strange. You can be so sure of someone. You can build plans, invest your time, your energy, your emotions, and still have the rug pulled out from under you. That's the part that hurts the most. That lie wasn't just a small mistake. It showed me that she was willing to hide big things. It made me wonder how many other lies were hidden in our so-called honest moments. I think betrayal doesn't just kill trust. It slowly eats away at everything you thought was real. Even now, I catch myself going back to some of those moments and asking, was that genuine? I'm not going to sit here and pretend I've got it all figured out or that I'm completely over it. I'm not. But I am clear on one thing. I deserve honesty. So now I'm turning to you. What would you have done if you were in my shoes? Do you think I handled it the right way? Or is there something I could have done differently? Maybe something I missed? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it. Because at the end of the day, someone else might be going through the same thing right now, and your words could help them see things more clearly.